all your stuff. What can figure it out? That's how it chooses you.
Hello, how are
Hi,
you?
it's so good to see you. I'm well. I worked full time this week and also had classes.
Well, that was first on my agenda, was to see how you're doing.
Yeah, well, I'm doing well. I worked and then kind of like ignored classwork on Thursday and Friday. And I discovered actually Friday night. So I work at a place where I have a discount on alcohol. And so I frequently purchase things. And one of the things I purchased this week was a 6-pack or 2. And Friday night, came home and I was really tired. I'd worked all day. And I was like, I'm going to have a beer. I'm going to have another beer. I'm going to have another beer. And another beer. And I apparently got shit-faced. But then I woke up Saturday morning. I went to bed very early. And I woke up Saturday morning and I had painted my nails. And they look good.
Yeah.
And I went to the bathroom and I was like, shit, I cleaned my bathroom last night. And then I walked in the kitchen to make coffee. I was like, I cleaned the kitchen too. I have to write the name of that beer down. That's the productive drunk. That's what they should call that beer, is the productive drunk. I was like, I did so. And I had like literally no memory. I woke up and I was like, ooh, my nails look great. Oh, it's so wonderful. Yeah. So I'm going to figure out what beer that was and write them a little letter. You know what you guys should call this instead. Yeah. So that was a fun day. Yeah. That was a fun day. And then I also realized that my gift to myself on a daily basis is that I brush my teeth before I have to wear a mask all day. Because once I didn't, and I had to live in my own coffee breath stink for 7 hours. And so I'm like, you know what? Past Teresa, just do future Teresa a solid. Just brush those teeth before you put that mask on all day. So it's been a week of revelation.
I should tell everyone that we have a thing where we talk about past Claire and future Claire and past Teresa and future Teresa, which I find it to be a really useful tool for living life responsibly, which is to imagine your future self in that moment when you don't want to brush your teeth or lay out your clothes or clean the bathroom. In those moments where you don't want to adult, think of the future version of you and how happy that future version of you, think of them like a child, how happy they'll be and how taken care of they'll feel having had this adult thing done for them.
That's right. And of course, and they don't have to do it. That's the magic that works on me. Is like, I'm gonna set future Teresa up so she doesn't have to fucking deal with this. And then when I don't, I'm like, oh, past Teresa's the fucking best. I don't have to deal with that.
Creating that emotional distance of thinking of your future self, it makes you feel like your future self is another person. And we all know it's easier to take care of other people than to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
So it's completely brilliant. I don't know if you made it up or I made it up or it just naturally sort of evolved from our friendship, but it may be our greatest contribution to modern thought.
Yes, I think that's fair and correct. Yeah, it's a wonderful tool. It works in so many different circumstances. I highly recommend it. Yeah.
I use it frequently when I know that I'm going to have to do something terrible, like get up crazy early to go somewhere, or I know I'm going to have a rough day. And, I'll do something like clean my coffee mug and set it out and pre-grind the coffee or fill the water kettle or soak the oatmeal. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, someone loves me. It's me.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's like, oh, I feel so loved and taken care of by me. And then I'm like, holy shit, I'm so awesome. Look at how loving I am. Look at all of the,
and then you love the past version of yourself as well. So you're just loving yourself two ways, which sounds dirty, but.
But it's perfectly clean and angelic. Yes, no, completely wonderful. Yeah. That's been a very important part of my week, is thinking about what future Teresa needs and trying to set her up. Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm doing all right. I go through these phases where I don't know where my heart is living, you know? I'm like, what do I care about? You know? I like to have even little projects or small short-term obsessions or things like that. And I don't have any of that right now. So I'm just like, okay. Here I am.
I wonder what I'm doing.
Yeah.
What am I into? What am I into? Because apparently it's not superhero movies anymore. I tried to watch one the other day and I was like, boring. You know. Except for...
I mean, I feel like half of my life is trying to track my own whimsy, you know?
It's like I have to manage the intake because it is rare that I get into something. I try a lot of things and I say no as a habit. I'm a no sayer. Okay.
Teresa Sparks, naysayer.
That's right. Teresa Sparks, naysayer. That's
I love giving you titles.
Yeah, no. I love it. That was my favorite thing about Game of Thrones is imagine if we gave ourselves titles based on all the awesome shit we've done in our life. Yeah. Now, of course, she turned out to be a fucking psychopath. Sure. But until the point the writing turned her into a psychopath, dudes, she had this amazing run. And I was like, oh, I just love it. She's taken all these names. This is amazing. And then she has someone who walks around with her saying all of her names all the time. It's so good.
Maybe for Christmas I'll give all my beloveds epithets. So it'll be like Teresa of the resounding nay.
Yes. Please. So yes, that is definitely one of mine. And so I try to find things to be into. Like, please, I would very much like to put this enthusiasm somewhere.
Right.
But I have to go through a lot of things to find it. And then sometimes it goes into really weird places. Like I didn't care about Charles and Diana when it happened because I was a little kid. Yeah. Don't really care about it now, but the 4th season of The Crown came out and it's all I can think about.
Right. So, well, maybe I need to watch that. Maybe it'll refocus my zest for life.
I mean, it'll certainly give you a perspective on idiocy and emotional inability.
Right.
That maybe you don't have now. I learned a lot about how not to be in relationship. Like, ooh, look at this. It's like, it's an object lesson in how to fuck up a marriage. Cool. Yeah.
At least when I do it, I'll be aware that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you have the roadmap for it, you can say, I'm not gonna do that thing. Yeah, so I've been looking for new things to get into, not that I've had the time. I mean, this job is really cutting into my video game time, Claire. It's a problem.
It's bullshit. It is bullshit.
I texted you the other night. I was like, I tried to play, and my heart just wasn't in stabbing asses. I just couldn't get into it. I was like, I don't care if this fort falls or not. I gotta go. Yeah. I'm gonna go and sleep. Apparently get hammered and clean my bathroom is what.
Yeah. I mean, I literally played video games all day Friday. I don't know. You texted me and I didn't text you back. And the next day I was like, so sorry. I was playing video games all day, I guess.
Yeah. I have no expectation that you get back to me immediately. But thank you, for thinking maybe you should. It's cool. Especially when you're doing something so completely worthwhile as stabbing cultists. I mean, come on.
This is what I love about you, is your endorsement of my video game obsession.
Yeah. We don't have to include, what's that line from, it's from Parks and Rec, right? I need your tacit endorsement of all of my behaviors.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, only not so tacit. Good. I need your I need to call you and have you say explicitly, yes, you should keep doing that. That's a great choice. Yeah, not tacit. I need your active approval of this shit. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, we should tell everyone this is the podcast. It chooses you.
Hello. It has chosen you this morning. Happy Sunday. Or whenever you're listening to this.
Yeah. Happy Monday through Sunday, really. I am Claire Patton.
And I am Teresa Sparks.
And we are friends.
Oh, we're friends. And we talk about things we like. Another friend of ours has been diligently listening her way through the podcast because she takes everything very seriously. She's a very professional person. And she just randomly texts me shit I said. And I was like, I have no idea when I said that or in what context. She's like, it doesn't matter. It was funny. I was like, great, cool.
We should start paying her to be record keeper of the funny things you said.
That's right. We can, hey, you want to manage the social media that we don't feel like doing? She and I work together at that place. And her favorite thing to say is, well, we'll be doing something, and she'll be like, I have a PhD. And then she'll just go back to doing something that is not at the level you would expect a PhD to be operating at. It's pretty funny. Yeah, so today, you, bless your face, said that you would step up and bring something to share this morning so that I would not have to do that in the middle of whatever the week just was for me.
It was funny the other night. My cousin said to me, "Isn't it Teresa's week?"
Shut up, Amanda. That's not your business.
It's very kind of you to be looking out for me, but Teresa's got some stuff. She's like keeping schedule of whose week it is.
No, I love that. It's good. I mean, well, and obviously she has a line on that part of my personality that would very happily just have it be your week all the time. And I would just sit here and enjoy listening to you and say a couple snarky things, and that would be my contribution to what we're doing here. Yeah. She's smart that way.
I can't see you being like that at all. So I'm very excited today because we are going to talk about cooking.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're going to talk about leftovers.
Yes, the best kind of cooking.
That's right.
Cooking that's already done.
Before we begin, I did just want to add something to when we did the How to Winter episode a couple of weeks ago. I was talking about the band Run the Jewels, the hip hop duo, and I feel like I sold them a little bit short on the intelligence and political power of some of their music. I think I just made it sound fun, which it is, but it's also very powerful. And there was an episode recently of the podcast Song Exploder, which I also recommended, in which the band Run the Jewels talks about the creation of their song Just, that has vocals by Zach De La Rocha from Rage Against the Machine and Pharrell Williams. And it's a song about money, but the traps we get in around it. And it has this social justice piece to it that's really powerful. So I want to recommend Song Exploder, the episode with Run the Jewels about their song Just. It's very good. It'll give you a sense of how thoughtful and smart they are. Last night, I found myself in the position of eating and preparing dinner alone. So I decided I wanted some pasta, and I looked in the back of the cabinet and I found some penne. And penne makes me think of my friend Lucio, who's a chef, whose restaurant I would eat at about 5 days a week for a period of about a year when I lived in Italy. And he would make this penne arrabbiata. And it was so good, and I loved it. And I decided to go ahead and make that pasta last night. And I ate it, and it just brought back memories of my friendship with him and of sitting in his restaurant, about how every Tuesday he would make pasticcio, which is a lot like lasagna. And he would always sell out, so he'd save me a piece because he knew if he made it, I would want it. And I just had this wonderful, nostalgic, pleasant experience eating this pasta that was based on a dish that I used to eat at my friend's restaurant. And so I just was thinking about how magical cooking is.
Yeah. It's the everyday act of transformation that we are all capable of accomplishing. You may not be able to change yourself, but you can turn raw ingredients into deliciousness. Everyone can do it. Everyone can do it. Yeah.
That's right. It's also the most simple daily way that you can show yourself love. Mm-hmm. And I enjoy cooking for other people, and I do a great deal of cooking for other people in this house. But there's something really lovely about cooking a meal for yourself. Yeah. It's such a nice act of care.
One of my favorite things about the parties in the trailer you guys used to have is like, oh, Tim and Claire are having a party. There's going to be food. And it's not like people are going to bring their flat of salami from the grocery store. It's like, no, they'll cook. You'll have, and I'm like, oh, I feel so loved. This is the best party I've ever been to. Yeah. amazing.
I mean, the secret to throwing a good party is doing a nice Thai sticky rice because it's gluten-free. It's vegan. You just get that chili sauce, that sweet chili sauce, which you say the rice is really just the vehicle for the chili sauce to get in your body. And maybe a nice fermented bean sauce. And it's all vegan. It's all gluten-free. Everybody's happy. And it's fucking comforting and delicious.
That's right. You use your hands, so immediately there's no pretension involved. We're all eating with our hands. Yeah.
Yep. Maybe not great for the era of coronavirus.
Okay, it's not a 2020 dish. That is true. But soon it will be a 2021 dish again. Yeah.
That's right. So I was thinking about the perspective of someone listening to this, and they're probably like, well, why the fuck should I listen to this woman about cooking?
Oh, are you about to give yourself some cred? You're about to read your CV?
I just want to say I'm a good fucking cook, you know?
Even me teasing you about it, you're like, no, but I'm good. It's so funny to me because I imagine if you polled the people who know you, the fact that you're a really good cook would be one of the top 3 things they say about you. And yet you feel the need to like, oh, it's so funny. Okay.
Well, they don't know. I could just be some a-hole.
Well, that's true. But that's the whole point of this is we're just some a-holes.
That's true.
Listen to some opinions. Welcome.
Yeah. I worked in the restaurant industry for a long time, and I learned from great chefs and cooks. And I have educated myself on food because I'm a chubby person who likes to eat, right?
Yeah.
And I like to eat so much that I thought I'd better learn how to do this because I can't afford to keep up this habit of having other people cook for me, right?
That's right. That's all. How we do all the best things we learn to do is I really like this, and it's expensive to have someone else do it for me. Yeah. I also have to say, I'm just going to, this is a total interruption, but I cannot hold it in any longer. Every word you say makes me know how awesome the Christmas present I bought for you is.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I'm so excited.
I love cooking partly because it makes you feel like a goddamn adult.
Yeah.
It's a way to feel kind of self-sufficient and in control in a fucking chaotic world. And it's a daily act. It's a daily opportunity to engage with your independence and your creativity. Yeah. You gotta eat every day.
You gotta eat, yeah.
You gotta eat 5 times a day, guys.
The Hobbit meal schedule, I wish we would all adopt it. It seems completely appropriate to me.
Do you know that I had a professor in both high school and at college who cooked us a Hobbit birthday meal for Bilbo Baggins?
Nice.
It was really wonderful.
Was it the same person or was it 2 different people who cooked?
So it was the same person. He taught me in both high school and at college. He was a college professor. So everyone's thinking about leftovers right now. We're just a couple days out from Thanksgiving. Yes. Maybe less so when this episode comes out on Wednesday. But so I was just thinking about Thanksgiving leftovers, and not this year, but typically when we go to Tim's mom's house for Thanksgiving, she cooks this big meal and then forces us to take leftovers, whether we want to or not.
Forces, yeah.
Yeah, no, forces. Like, she has literally said the words, you aren't getting Christmas presents if you don't take this damn turkey with you.
I was imagining her doing it on her own rather than forcing you, like sneaking out to your car and putting buckets in the back seat or something.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past her. There's something really funny about taking an act of generosity and making it an act of violence.
Yes, it's one of my favorite things to do. It's totally my jam. Yeah.
It's something mothers are really capable of.
Mothers have had it with your shit, I think, is the reason.
So we always come home so that I've got to be really creative with the leftovers. But Tim had this idea of he wants to, for several years, save the Thanksgiving leftovers and freeze them, and then invite his mother over for dinner and serve her all the leftovers from Thanksgiving's past.
Yeah. I want to tell you my favorite, just for really quick, my favorite leftover from Thanksgiving past story, which is that for 6 years, we've lived in this apartment. And every Thanksgiving, I make cranberry salad from cranberries, cranberry sauce or cranberry salad. And I had a running experiment where I was keeping the past 3 years cranberry sauces in the back of the fridge just to see how long they would stay food, just to see what would happen. And then I was like,
what's your method of testing, though? Is it eating it and seeing if you get sick?
It's looking at it to see if there's any obvious, thing happening, smelling it to see if there's any obvious thing happening. But I put so much lemon juice in it that it's basically like a mummy in fruit form, or
right.
a fruit mummy. Yeah, exactly. So I pulled out last year's and I was like, is this still food? It is. And so I didn't make any this year. And what I said to my roommate is, I'm going to put this in the fridge, and this is just going to be the cranberry sauce for as long as this lasts. And we're going to see if we can do an everlasting cranberry sauce.
That's great.
So it's still there. It's still there. I think that one is 3 years old, and it's still food. It does its job, which is it cuts the fat from the potatoes and the turkey. That's it. That's its only job, and it's still doing it. So it's still allowed on the table.
That's great.
Yep.
We used to shop daily for groceries. We used to decide what we wanted for dinner that night and buy it. And since moving out here to the middle of nowhere, we've had to change that routine. Our closest grocery store is 30 minutes away, and the closest good grocery store is 45 minutes away. So I think that we're cooking now more like most Americans, which is that we go once a week, we have a list, we make a plan. So it's kind of been a bit of adjustment. So we go through our meals that we've planned, but then I always find myself at a certain point, like last night or towards the end of the week, where I don't have a plan and I just have to look at what I have and make something from that. So that's really what I mean by leftovers, is using what you have.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite way to cook, because you're relying on your wits and your knowledge of techniques, and it breaks that routine. So we have a plan, right? We're going to make this and this and this and this dish. Oh, that'll be good. But then it's this really cool way to inject a bit of surprise and improvisation into your routine with food.
Yes, with those 4 tablespoonfuls of ricotta that you never use from the bottom of the quart of it or whatever. Yes, exactly. Okay, I have this, but yeah. I'm into it.
We have leftovers that we just eat. Like right now in the fridge, we have this delicious cashew chicken that Tim made yesterday, and we're going to have that for lunch. That's great. But I'm talking about transforming food from one thing into another, right? So I have just 2 food books. I guess I'll call them cookbooks that I'd like to recommend to that end. And this is really where I'm drawing from in terms of this knowledge. One is Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat by Saminosurat. Of course. I talked on the How to Winter podcast episode about how transformative that book was for me. And basically, if you don't know, you should rush out and buy it. But the basic concept is that salt, fat, acid, and heat are the 4 elements of great cooking. So how do you apply salt to bring out the most flavor? Same with acid, fat, heat. She also has a podcast called Home Cooking, which I've recommended, which is fantastic. The other cookbook, I wouldn't quite call it a cookbook, but it's called An Everlasting Meal, Cooking with Economy and Grace by Tamar Adler. Tamar is her first name. Adler, Adler. Ironically, both Samin and Tamar were proteges of Alice Waters. They worked in her restaurants.
Cool.
Now, Tamar's book isn't so much a cookbook as some of the best food writing I've ever read, combined with techniques and ideas. There are some recipes in there too. She breaks down how to use what you have and then gives techniques for how to make some damn tasty food.
I'm sure that you've talked about this before. Of course, I remember you talking about it, which is why I said everlasting cranberry sauce. It comes directly from this, but I didn't remember that that's where it came from.
Yeah, I was glad when you said that. I was like, oh, look, that's a connection. So she has this technique she calls catching your tail, where you use the ends of the last meal to start the next meal. So it's a method of making food based on what you have, right? Like I have that roasted broccoli from last night, or that leftover turkey or stuffing, whatever it is. Her book gives me the comfort that we live in a fundamentally ordered universe and that everything's going to be okay. She has an entire chapter about what to eat when you're broke, So highly recommend those 2 books. I have basically 4 types of dishes that are the most easy to transform leftovers, and they are salad, soup, rice bowls, and pasta. So those are kind of my go-tos in terms of technique when I'm trying to use what I have. So we'll start with soup. Soup is a game changer for leftovers. You should make your own stock because it's delicious and once again makes you feel like an adult who knows what's going on. Obviously, you can use chicken and turkey carcasses or leftover bones from any kind of roast, but you can also put leftover veg and trimmings like onion skin or ends, kale stems, cilantro stems, that last wrinkly nub of ginger. You can use your Instant Pot if you have one. It's really easy. It takes about 4 hours for a bone broth, or you can just throw it all in the stock pot and boil it for a few hours. So that's the first way to use up things to make a really tasty stock. That'll be the base for super delicious soup. But the canned stuff, the box stuff works too. For a soup, you can use leftover roast chicken, day-old rice, roasted vegetables, that Parmesan rind, the little bit of broth that you threw in the fridge after you used it, or the last few bits of pasta at the back of the pantry. Those can all be transformed into a delicious and nourishing pot of soup. You can easily do something like a tortilla soup, basic chicken noodle soup, or kind of an Italian minestrone. One thing that's really important when you're cooking anything is to use enough salt. I think a lot of people undersalt their food and then it doesn't taste as good as they want it to, and they don't realize it's just because of that one element. So I recommend using kosher salt because it's not as strong, and adding a little bit at a time and just keep tasting. There's a moment where the salt makes the food sing. There's no other way to describe it. There's just a perfect moment. And so experiment with that, and you might screw up, but hey, it's just soup.
Ultimately, you're making soup with leftovers, so it's low stakes. It's a low stakes environment for many.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, salad. I've eaten some really shitty salads in my day, especially growing up in Texas in the 80s. The iceberg lettuce, that mealy and anemic wedge of tomato, and a big dollop of ranch dressing. Like the ranch has to compensate for the rest of the shitty salad.
Once again, the food is just the vehicle for the sauce.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm now known in my family, anytime there's a meal, I'm asked to make the salad because I make some rockin' salads. And here's the key. Put as much stuff in the salad as you can. So my friend Lucia has this rule that it's not a sandwich unless it has 5 ingredients on it. And I have the same rule about salad. It's a great way to use up things that you have sitting around the house. So use whatever lettuce you have on hand, any vegetables or roasted vegetables. I really like shredded carrot in my salad. Use some kind of onion. So red onion and green onion are the best raw. Use nuts. Fruit of some kind. Apples and oranges are really good. Pears are lovely. Cheese if you've got it. And leftover meat of some kind, some kind of protein. You could put some beans in there. And again, adjust for what approach you're doing. Do you want a Latin with pinto beans, or do you have cannellini and you want to do more of a kale, red onion, cannellini, and Parmesan salad? And make sure you get a variety of textures in there. You want something leafy, you want something crunchy, you want something soft, and then you want a variety of flavors. So again, we come back to salt, fat, acid, right? I highly recommend that everyone learn to make their own salad dressing if they don't know how. So the basic components are a fat of some kind, which usually would be something like olive oil, or avocado oil is a nice neutral one. An acid, which would be, red wine vinegar, balsamic vinegar, or seasoned rice wine vinegar. And then you want some kind of emulsifying agent. So Dijon mustard or German mustard. You can use mayo. If you want something creamier, you can use honey, and you can use tahini. Salt that dressing generously and taste the salad for more salt after you've done that, after you've dressed the salad. A really good tip, that something I've done for a really long time, I think this came from Jamie Oliver way back when, is save little jars and use those jars for your salad dressings. Mm-hmm. So you just put everything in the jar, put the lid on, and when you shake it, you're able to really emulsify in those ingredients and create a homogeneously beautiful dressing. Mm-hmm. And Please, please, please mix your salad with your hands. Your hands will get dirty, but you can just wash them. This is why salads in nicer restaurants tend to taste really good, is because they salt well, they have a balance of flavors in their dressing, and then they mix with their hands. So using tongs are a little bit rough, so it's going to kind of tear those sweet, like tender greens. But if you use your hands, you're going to get the dressing incorporated nicely throughout the salad. And then you can always taste at that point for salt, or do you want to add more dressing? I'd go lighter on dressing at first because you obviously can't take it away. You could throw more greens in. But yeah, use your hands. It is the way to get the best tasting salad. Don't do that thing. Don't do that thing where you put the salad on the plate and pour the dressing on top.
Don't be that person.
No. Don't do that. This isn't TGI Fridays. You know?
How dare you? What are you doing?
This isn't Applebee's.
Claire sees you doing that. This is not a Guy Fieri restaurant. What are you doing?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
I love that you scold, that the end of your salad section was a scolding.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part. Again, like something kind, but say it in a mean way. Yeah.
Well, once again, that was aimed at people I know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and then also, you can't judge how much dress. I mean, there are lots of logistical reasons that's a problem. You can't tell how much dressing you're putting on. You don't know, unless you make the same thing every time, you don't know how much dressing you need for the particular combination of items in the salad. And then it's just spilling all over your plate and touching everything else. So then everything else has salad dressing on it.
Yeah. And it's not evenly coated. You're just going to get like glops of dressing, and it's just not satisfying.
It's just not satisfying. That's right. Even if you're the kind of person who puts your salad in a separate bowl off your plate, first of all, yay, but second of all, still don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to glop the dressing on top on the plate, just don't eat the salad. Just forego it altogether. It's not worth the effort. It's not worth the time.
Get yourself a loaf of white bread and sop up the dressing with the white bread. That's how you're going to be. Just go all the way, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Moving on to rice bowls, which is one of my favorite things to make. You can use leftover rice, obviously. If you want to make fried rice, it's traditionally made with day-old rice, and I can verify that it's better with day-old rice. Something happens with the starches where they get drawn out and then they dry a little bit, and it just creates a much more authentically delicious fried rice. But you all are probably making rice incorrectly. And I know this because I set out on about a year-long mission to learn how to make rice. And I learned a lot. So no matter what kind of rice you're cooking, you want to go ahead and rinse that before you cook it. This one's debatable. Some people, like Kenji Lopez Alt, disagrees with this. He doesn't rinse his rice. But I found it to be really helpful to give you that individual grain where it doesn't get sticky and all clumped together.
Unless you're making sticky rice, in which case that's the point. And then, yes, we want some clumping. But it's called sticky rice. It's not just called rice, right?
Right. That's a special kind of rice that you buy at the Asian market. So rinse that. Some rices are better soaked as well. Like basmati is really good if it gets a 30-minute soak. Sushi rice is really good with a 30-minute soak. That's not a deal breaker, but it does make it even tastier. And then the biggest thing is the water to rice ratio. Every single package direction I've ever seen is incorrect.
It says 2 to 1. They all say 2 to 1,
yep.
Right? Yeah.
It or some even variant on that. So here's the ratio. It's 1 part rice to 1.5 parts water. So I like to do even numbers, even amounts of rice so that ratio is really easy for me. So usually for the group of us, I'll cook 2 cups of rice, which means I'll have 3 cups of water. If it's for a smaller group of people, I'll do 1 cup of rice to 1.5 cups of water. So just keep it really simple. Again, you may end up with leftover rice, but then that's great. You can make a fried rice or a rice bowl or a soup or something like that. The last thing with rice is that you do want to cook it on the lowest heat. Different rices have different cook times. For that, you can go ahead and look at the package directions. But just briefly, basmati rice is 15 minutes. Sushi rice is about 18 to 20 minutes. And things like Thai jasmine rice are about 18 to 20 as well. What you want to do after the rice has cooked you want to take the lid off, put on a kitchen towel, and put the lid back on with the heat off and let that rest for at least 5 minutes. So that towel is going to absorb any extra moisture that's coming off the rice as it cools. And it's going to also contribute to giving you those fluffy individual grains instead of just a clumpy mass. So.
Okay. So we're cooking it for that amount of time with the lid on.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basic process is bring your water up to a boil, add your rice, bring it all back up to a boil, then down to the lowest setting. It sort of depends on your stove, so you may have to do some futzing. For us, it's the lowest setting on a specific burner. There's like the rice burner. I had to do a lot of experimentation to figure it out. But and then that amount of time, lid off, towel on, lid back on, heat off, give it a rest for 5 minutes.
All right.
Yeah. And if you have anything that you're adding to your rice, like olive oil or fresh herbs or butter or cheese, then you can do that at that point. So just some ideas for rice bowls. You can do a Greek rice bowl, a Latin one, fried rice, as I said. Now, one thing I want to extol the virtues of that I don't think enough people know about is how good rice with butter and cheese on it is.
How can people not know? Oh my God.
So, again, when you lift that lid up, throw some butter and a little bit of cheese on there if you're doing something like a Latin rice bowl. And, oh, so good. Some manchego, some butter, or even some cheddar Monterey Jack on there. So good. Saminosurat's book, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, has a really great feature in it, which are these flavor wheels, where she talks about different cuisines and the sort of building block flavor components of those cuisines. So I think that people will find if they start thinking about it, they know more about what ingredients go in different ethnicities and cuisines than they think. So, if you wanted to make a Mediterranean rice bowl, you could use red onion, you could use mint, parsley, sesame seeds, lemon, feta, olives, oregano. For a Latin rice, lamb, chicken, Greek chicken. For a Latin bowl, you could use cilantro, lime, red onion, cheese, like a Monterey Jack, a cotija, manchego, pinto beans, cumin, like hot sauce. You could go on and on. For Asian dishes, sesame oil, gochujang, carrot, garlic, ginger, green onion, peas, soy sauce, tamari, rice wine vinegar, and hoisin sauce. For Italian food, obviously tomato, basil, garlic, parmesan, pine nuts, walnuts, eggplant, peppers, and cannellini beans are all good.
So does Saminosurat actually, as you said, flavor wheels? So rather than thinking about it in terms of location or ethnicity, is she thinking about it that way, or is she like, these flavors go very well together? Think about
it is about ethnicity. It is. It's about recreating the flavors of a particular region. Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
And it's really cool, and it folds out. So I definitely recommend that as a resource. Another thing that's really great on rice bowls, on lots of things, but is a fried egg. So if you make a fried rice and you want to do the scrambled egg in there, that's great. That eggs are really great for that meal that you're going to make where maybe you don't have any leftover protein or a chicken breast to grill off, but you just want something quick and nourishing. Fried egg on fried rice or fried egg on polenta is really good, with the sauce. Oh, so good. So use eggs. Another thing something that's great to have in the house are what I call flavor bombs, which are just usually some kind of condiment or sauce that you can purchase and probably keeps in your fridge for freaking ever, like your cranberry sauce. Yeah, and they just make everything delicious. So you all listen up. I'm going to reveal some flavor bomb secrets here.
Here's your shopping list.
Shopping list. Teresa, I told you about this one recently. Chili crisp.
Yes, you did.
So it's an Asian condiment that's really crispy, and it's usually chilies. I think it's actually fermented like fried beans in there. So it's this crispy, umami, savory, slightly spicy. It's just so good. Now, a lot of brands have MSG in them. I don't personally, I didn't have any problems with using MSG, but I actually started to have a reaction to it.
Yeah.
So
this is how you told me about the chili crisp. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, so 2 things. I found a delicious new condiment, and also I have a blinding headache.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did start having muscular issues with as a result of that. So for me, I found some. You can easily find some without MSG on it. The brand I use is Mr. Bing. It's very good. Another flavor bomb is pickles. Dill, sweet, whatever you like. Olives, bacon, sausage, pesto, hot sauce. And I mean, you guys, hot sauce is amazing. You've got gochujang, sriracha, Cholula, and other, Tapatio, other Latin brands. There's something called Calabrian chili paste, which is delicious.
I don't have the paste. I just have chopped Calabrian chili.
I mean, that's great too. I'm obsessed with the brand 505's jar of green chilies. Hatch green chilies. Oh, they're roasted. They're so good. Most of the meals I eat are just an attempt to get those chilies in my body. Obviously, things like sauerkraut and kimchi. Tim and I have been making these kimchi sloppy joes that are so easy. It's an America's Test Kitchen recipe and so good. You do a sloppy joe mix, but it's like got ketchup and soy sauce and sesame oil and garlic. And then you make this mayo mixed with kimchi and you put that on top. Oh, it's so good. Soy sauce, sesame oil is another great flavor bomb. Tomato paste, I recommend getting it in either the tube or the jar just so you can keep using it. It'll last longer that way. Feta cheese, Parmesan cheese, pecorino, alcohol. Like I've recently discovered that they have wine in a can now, which is not something I would necessarily sit down and drink, but it's so great for cooking because you can just, use as much as you want instead of opening a whole bottle and then
having to get drunk. Oh, the burden.
Another great flavor bomb is the world of vinegars. Like I said, red wine, balsamic.
Yeah, I want to confess here. I actually, I bought myself for my birthday, the Vinegar Maker's Handbook. Because I love vinegar so much. I was like, I really need to figure out how to make this happen for myself. And so I have that. Have I used it? No, but I did go on a spree and buy maybe 5 different kinds of incredibly fancy vinegar the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I just need to have strawberry rose vinegar. Definitely need to have that in my kitchen. Citrus lime vinegar. Come on.
Oh, it sounds so good. It's such a magical process and it's such a good way to bring balance to your dishes, right? So one thing Samine talks about and you and I have talked about is the Thanksgiving meal. You just said it earlier. You've got all these like rich, fatty flavors, and then you have to have, something like the acid from the cranberry sauce to cut that. Otherwise, you're not having this balanced experience. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love fat. I love carbs, but we need a little bit of balance.
Well, yeah, and when the whole plate is beige, you need to just really think about getting a couple of other colors in there.
Yeah, exactly. And textures too. The last flavor bomb I want to mention that I think is really underrated is lemon zest. I mean, lemon juice is fine, but lemon zest is a magical creature sent to bring us joy. Mm-hmm. Put it in your salads, put it in your soups. You can add it to if you make a rice bowl or something like that, you can do chop up a little bit of parsley, walnuts, and lemon zest and put that on top. Oh, it's so good. It's just magical.
It's so good. And I think you were the one who probably told me this. I've gotten in that habit of I don't buy bottles of lemon juice anymore. I buy lemons and I zest them first. And then I slice them and squeeze them. So the zest is the cream of the crop, and then I'll use the juice when the zest is gone. And they just live in my fridge, yeah.
If you're using lemon juice for something in the kitchen, you might as well zest it first and put that in there as well. It's that essence of, it's a concentrated lemon flavor without the acid. So it doesn't necessarily, yeah.
It's the oil.
I have been known to carry a lemon zester in my purse when I was going somewhere for dinner, so I'm not above that. The last dish that translates really well with leftovers is pasta. I've got a few techniques for pasta that make it tastier. I don't know how, I think a lot of these are well known, but when you're cooking your pasta, make sure you're adding a bit of the pasta water to your sauce that cooks separately, because it's like I consider it like they need to get to know each other a little bit. You want to introduce them before they get married in your mouth, you know? Just a little bit at a time. And then when you go to drain the pasta, reserve some of the water, because it helps thin out that sauce, but it adds a little bit of starchiness that brings the sauce together and a little bit more saltiness. So keep that in mind with your sauce. You don't want to over salt your sauce, because you're adding pasta water at the end. Make sure you're using good cheese with your pasta. You should add your pasta to the sauce pan with your sauce at the end. So don't, again, much like the salad dressing, don't dump the pasta sauce on top of the pasta in the bowl or on the plate. Make sure you're combining those two. You want to undercook your pasta just a touch and then finish it off in that sauce. Exactly. Yeah. And then the very, very, very last thing, please, 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 when you make pasta, do a little glug of olive oil on the top. Oh, I highly recommend that for soups too.
She just did the kiss fingers, you guys.
I did.
Man. Oh, it hurts. Okay, no. You're the only person who's allowed to do it.
Well, in a nation of Italians, I guess.
Yes, well, yes, but the only person I know who's allowed to do it. Also, you're the only person I know who can get away with saying "abbondanza" around me without dying.
Well, we do that as a joke.
Yeah.
Abbondanza. So those are the 4 most easily leftover transfer. So those are the 4 dishes that are the most easily. What do I want to say here?
Those are the 4 kinds of leftovers that are most easily transformed into delicious new meals.
Yes, thank you. Just leave it.
Hold on. I got this. I can see inside your brain. I can see the teleprompter on your face. This is what you're saying.
Thank you. So the last thing I just wanted to say was that leftovers are a limitation.
Mm-hmm.
And we frequently don't like limitation. But here's the deal, everybody. Limitation equals creativity.
Correct.
So if you use what you have, and this applies to anything in life, but right now we're talking about cooking, we'll just start there. If you use what you have, you will be forced to become creative. You will create new dishes that you never imagined and experiences that are a delightful break in your routine. So we tend to circulate around the same few dishes, right? We cook the same thing over and over again, the things we're comfortable with and that we rely on to be good. But using what you have on hand guarantees an element of surprise and breaks up the routine. It forces you to improvise, and you will discover new delights hitherto unheard of.
Did you just say hitherto unheard of?
Yeah, I did say it.
I love it.
Put me on record, baby.
Too late, you're there. I see the bar moving.
This is recording.
That's right. People are going to hear us say these things. Thank you for that whirlwind tour of, how to make a few kinds of leftovers into amazing new food.
That's right. I'm so excited, everybody. Let's make some new stuff this week.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
I unfortunately spent a huge amount of money at the grocery store because, I'm there all day. So fortunately/unfortunately. So as you were talking, I'm just getting hungrier and hungrier and hungrier. And now I'm very excited that we're done-ish because that means I get to go eat.
That's right. How are you doing? You had mentioned that you were feeling uninspired around food or uninterested in food.
Yeah, well, I stopped smoking weed. Again, I go back and forth, but it's been a little bit. And, for the first little bit after I've stopped, I just really don't care about food anymore. I'm like, nope, none of this does it for me. So I eat when the organism is hungry. But there's no recreational eating. And in my opinion, recreational eating is the best kind of eating.
It is. It's also the best kind of eating to make you gain weight.
Yeah, unfortunately true. Yeah. But, I'm not someone who's like, I'm going to count the macronutrients in all of my meals or whatever. Like that to me is not at all exciting. So it's been a little sad. Yeah, I haven't really been excited about food. And then I was just around it a lot. And I was like, well, let me just try. So I'm going to have some cornichons and some salami for lunch. I'm pretty excited.
Oh, it sounds delicious.
Delicious, yeah.
You eat very nice European meals. You always do these
Yes.
pick plate kind of cheeses and meats and little crackers maybe or not, depending on if you're consuming the carbs.
I like 4 bites of 12 things for a meal. That's what I like.
Well, variety is important. And I think that having different flavors and textures is one way to feel satisfied. And theoretically, I'm not, the model for this, but theoretically, I think the better your food is, perhaps the more quickly you'll be satiated and not need to overindulge. By the same token, sometimes I'm like, this is so good, I just want to eat it forever. I now have found my calling in life. It's to eat this naan bread with butter chicken and spicy. I didn't mention the spicy mango pickle. Do you know the spicy mango pickle?
I don't know the spicy mango.
Oh, the only brand I've ever had is Patak's, Patak''S. And it's literally pickled mango with chili. And it is acidic and sweet and salty and kind of funky. Oh, it is so good. I'm getting you one. That's going to be part 2 of your gift. I just gave it away, but
damn it. I won't remember. That's the magic of me.
I know.
I don't remember anything.
It's going to be great. You're going to be so surprised.
I will be. Oh my God, this is amazing. Cool.
I would put that in the category of flavor bombs that I forgot to mention. Oh, it is so good. Like, it's to the point where I won't make Indian food if I don't have it. Right now, I've just ordered some, and I'm like, well, I have a butter chicken recipe that is so good. You introduced me to the wonderful restaurant Tandoori Grill in Boulder, and they make the best Indian food I've ever had. But now I'm getting close. I'm rivaling them a little bit with my butter chicken and my rice techniques and spicy mango.
Oh, so good. I mean, you're just really just making me hungry. But I do before I close my part, I do want to say how easy it is to do quick pickles on your own. You don't have to buy pickles. Making pickles is really, really easy.
How do you do it, Teresa?
Vinegar and water in equal proportions and spices, and bring it to a boil and throw whatever you want to pickle in there. I usually let it go for about a minute just to soften, particularly if it's a harder or crunchier vegetable. Yeah. Then take it off the heat. Strain it out. Put it in a jar. Just cover it with the liquid and set it. And
nice.
Then, wait a few minutes, and there it is. Just the most delicious, crispy, fresh, wonderful.
And then you can probably throw that in the fridge and it lasts forever.
Yes. I mean, as all pickles do.
You could do that with cucumbers, obviously, but you could do like radishes.
Red onion.
There's that. Yeah. Radishes, red onion. Carrots, daikon radish. Yeah. Now I'm getting hungry.
Right. Yeah, we should cook. Okay, we're going to go eat, you guys. Thanks so much.
I'm going to go eat leftovers.
Yay!
Thank you all so much for listening. If you have any cooking dilemmas or questions, you should probably contact Samine, but if she's busy, you can email us at itchoosesyou@gmail.com. Send me your leftover conundrums and I'll do my best to respond and make some pleasing recommendations.
This is another fun game. It's like, here's the list of foods in my fridge. Please make this taste good. Oh,
I actually wanted to do a cooking show that was exactly that. I have this idea. Yeah. I may actually cut this because I may do it someday.
That's ours. That's our intellectual property.
Yeah. Copyright Claire.
Yep. Awesome. Well, have a great day.
You too. Thank you everybody for listening. We'll see you next time.
Everyone. Bye-bye. Testing. Great. Thank you for listening to It Chooses You. Your hosts are Teresa Sparks and Claire Patton. Our theme song is by Bobby Dart. If you'd like to get in touch with us, drop us an email at itchoosesyouPodcast@gmail.com.